My name is Alan Steinfeld, and my program is called New Realities. Each week I go deep into the understanding of how we can start to change the planet, how new ideas can be presented to the world to unfold a greater civilization. Welcome to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld. Thanks for watching today. This is a live broadcast from YouTube studios. Very excited about this first live stream here with my guest, Josh Pollack, who's written this book, The Heartfulness Way, and we're going to be talking about this, I wouldn't say new type of meditation, but it's there's something new about this, right, Josh? I mean, there's millions of types of meditation, so what is special about the heartfulness meditation?
I think it'll be a new experience for many people, even if the meditation itself isn't new.
The experience of the meditation will be new.
Yeah.
You didn't start out to be a meditation teacher. You were a professional violinist.
I mean, yeah, I started violin when I was a kid, and I was always passionate about it. I was always actually completely focused on it.
Uh-huh.
But also, I had inclinations that verged towards spirituality. And I think I can thank my parents for that, my father for that, because they had so many books in their house, and there's so many. I wrote about this in the introduction, actually. How I
grew up in Maine.
In Maine, yeah.
Right.
There wasn't much to do there.
Except read.
Yeah, right. So I would,
and fish, but there's not much to do when you're fishing. Yeah. So what were you saying?
So I paged through so many books, and they had in their collection so many books, Yoga Sutras or Lao Tzu or things about Buddhism or all kinds of things, New Age things even. So I would just get really, interested and fascinated. I'd already tried various kinds of meditation.
Right. There's a million types of meditation out there.
Exactly. And then I tried this one.
Yeah.
I came across this, and somebody who was very new to this, in fact, recommended, why don't you try this? And sent me to a trainer, right? And I went to his studio. He was an artist.
Right.
I went to his studio, and he taught me how to meditate. And he said, let's meditate now. So we sat there together, meditated for about 20 minutes. And I think this experience for me was sort of incomparable. I went back the next day. I went to see him 3 days in a row.
This trainer.
Yeah, he didn't charge.
Right.
In fact, nobody charges for this, right?
In fact, anyone who does this meditation will not be charged.
Yeah, it's true. The funny thing about the experience is that it was different on each of the 3 days.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't like, okay, this is what this particular method does, only this. But it was more like a seed that got planted the first day, and then something starts to germinate. And now you see, what is this turning into? What is it growing into? But even on the first day, I think I experienced so much inner balance. And actually, I remember when I sat down, within the first 5 or 10 seconds, this smile appeared on my face. And it confused me because I didn't know why I was smiling. I didn't know why I was so happy inside.
And that was different than like any other meditation.
Yeah, it was a new experience. It was a lot of depth in this experience, a lot of balance, a lot of peace.
But there's meditations where you focus on a mantra or you focus on a vision or a sound. What is the focus of this meditation?
The object of meditation is we meditate on the presence of light in the heart.
Okay.
Right? And it's not a visualization technique.
Okay.
It's just we presume that it's there. We take its presence as some kind of hypothesis.
The presence of
this light in the heart.
So
we take it as a hypothesis, and now we test this hypothesis through this process of meditation. Meditation is an experiment, and now we start to experience the effect of that light that it has upon our consciousness.
Wait, so you're sitting there with your eyes closed?
Yes.
And you're visualizing the light?
Not visualizing.
Oh, you're...
Just, you assume it's there, you put your attention on your heart, and now you just see what you feel.
Okay. And then?
And then you start to, then some sort of inner state starts to develop.
And can anyone just do that now? But there's something special that you told me about. What are those special ingredients that you add to this?
So, when I first went to this trainer,
right,
and I had a unique experience, and I didn't know the cause of that experience, and I didn't find out until later that there was something happening, which we call pranahuti, or yogic transmission.
Okay.
Which had such a profound effect.
And what is that? prana.
It's very difficult to define, but we can understand it in a certain way. Let's say that we can, sometimes actually it's been defined as energy, right? Energy that can transform us in some way, but that actually isn't completely correct, because energy is, it is of this manifested world, of this material dimension, absolutely, right? But this is something which is not of the unmanifest. It belongs to the unmanifest. I'm always reminded of this quote by Kabir, this poet.
I know.
And
Yes.
and he's, one line always jumps out at me, especially as a musician, right? Because I'm a violinist. So he talks about the sound of an unplucked or unstruck string. So I can understand as a musician the sound of a plucked string. But the sound of an unplucked string, this is something else he's talking about now. And so he's talking about something which belongs to the unmanifest, now to this world of potentiality. Right?
And that's what this energy is?
It isn't even energy. It belongs to this unmanifested side. This, what we can call the source of all of our existence, where there's no action. It's absolute, stillness. And because of that, that means that how is that source going to activate this transmission to reach us? That means what is happening here? That means that this transmission is actually being activated and drawn towards us by ourselves and by our own craving.
Well, let me understand this. If we are just dropping in and there's a teacher there and I'm dropping into that space, then what is the teacher sending me
He's
a
not
transmission?
doing anything. He's not doing, but somehow, you see, what I realized later was that this trainer, and there's thousands of trainers, right? This trainer also had a trainer. And that person had prepared all of these people in such a way that they become sort of conduits for this.
But is there something that's done to them by the trainer?
Yes, they're prepared. They're prepared.
Can you give us a little more information about that? Or
I don't know what to say exactly. No, there's no secrets.
No, because you were trained, right?
Yeah, but it's training. Training looks like this. You close your eyes and you meditate and something happens.
But what is that thing that's happening?
You receive some transmission. Something is opened up in you, and now you can help others experience the very same thing.
Is that transmission consciously sent to you as a possible teacher? That's what I'm trying to get to.
I mean, something to do with consciously. You see, when we talk about nature,
right,
things happen in such a natural way. Things happen automatically. The rain doesn't ever say, I'm going to rain now. It just happens, And I think as we become more and more natural, then things just happen. Our actions just happen in the most automatic way, in a natural way, unself-conscious way.
I think if we go to the source, the origins of this meditation, that might be more what I'm looking for as far as like the origins of this. Your teacher, Daji?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about?
So he's the person who I was referring to as the person who's prepared all of these trainers.
Yeah.
He's actually the fourth in a lineage of guides or gurus, you could say, or even masters in this tradition. So I would say that the role or function of a guide is really kind of a back end kind of function. It's nothing where you have to go and meet this guru and listen to them speak and interact with them in some way. I would say he's just the guarantor, you could say, of the method, or the guarantor of this transmission. And you can just stay at home, you meditate on your own, but because he's there, somehow something different is happening.
But what happened to him? How did he
His
get
story.
activated? Yeah.
When he was a teenager, he was in pharmacy college in Ahmedabad, and there he actually is a very funny story. It's in the book. He had decided, he was very inspired by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and also his disciple Swami Vivekananda. Okay. Vivekananda was a sannyasi. He roamed all around the world. He's one of the key people to bring concepts of meditation yoga to the US.
That's right. He was at the Parliament of World Religions representing Hinduism for probably the first time, a Hindu at this international gathering. Yeah.
So he was inspired by him, and he also felt, let me also become a sannyasi. Let me also be a roaming, monk. Right. Okay. So he went out, and he went down by where the river was, the river Narmada, and there he found a band of sannyasis there, dressed in their orange robes. And
sannyasis are like renunciates.
Renunciates.
People wearing the orange robe.
Yeah. Ascetics. Right. So he met them. And they sort of observed each other, I suppose, from a distance, the way I understand the story from him. And then eventually their leader, who was a kind of an elderly man, he called him over and he said, "What are you doing here?"
Daji.
Yeah, they called Daji, because Daji was now 19-something, maybe.
But he was still studying pharmacy.
He was studying pharmacy, but he'd gone off, right?
Uh-huh.
And so he called him over, he said, "What are you doing here?" And he says, "I'm interested in becoming a sannyasi like you." And he said, "Don't do this." He said, "You won't find God like this." And he told him the whole story.
The sannyasi
said this. You're not like this. He told him this whole story, how he'd left his family, he'd abandoned his kids, he hadn't seen his family for years, his village for years, and he hadn't found what he was seeking for. Mm-hmm. So he said, don't follow this path. So he went home the same day.
Right.
And having gone home,
yes.
Yeah, and a few months later, he met a trainer in this Heartfulness way, and he experienced this for the first time. And, he practiced it like the rest of us practice it.
There's some special guests in the room. We did a little meditation before we started. I'll get back to the story. I just want the testimonials of Anderson over here. We're at the YouTube studios, and Anderson is here doing a music video, but I just want him to give a little testimonial about what he felt. Come up on stage, and you're all dressed up. Thank you.
Man, I told you I was shooting.
Here,
Hi.
have a seat for a second.
Hey, listen,
No, just, yes, have a seat and just tell, because you had a good experience.
What's up? I'm Hollywood Anderson, you know what I'm saying?
And tell us what happened when we did this meditation.
When we did the meditation, it was really weird, man. I had this thing going on my left ear and my right ear, more of my right than my left. Not messing with you. But, no, it was really cool because we spoke about just how it's off-putting for me a little bit, because the way I function as a creative is I need the race, I need the constant.
You need your mind constantly going.
Yeah, I need my mind to work or something's going to go wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those people. So to have that moment where you understand that you're looking for something within self, but you're still like, damn, I still want my race.
Wait, so your mind stopped racing then?
And not necessarily stop racing, but I kind of wasn't concerned with the race for a few seconds, which is like good and bad for a person like me. It can be good on a great day and it can be bad on a good day. And for that moment, it wasn't bad, but it just allowed me to come out of that moment, which was much appreciated. So it did do its job in that respect.
Great. Tell people what your channel is and what music.
My name is Hollywood Anderson. You know me, Mr. American Idol, the real American Idol, the guy that made J-Lo cry. You know what I'm saying? Just Google Hollywood Anderson. Everything will pop up. Buy my music. Don't stream it. Continue to support art, not only with me, myself, and these guys, but support creative output from everywhere and support it in a way that makes a difference. Because now people look at artists as like these objects.
Do you have something to say about when his mind stopped racing, and then we'll get Levi up here too?
No, I mean, any experience is good. But I'm just reminded of something, because we were just talking about my teacher. I have a meditation teacher who's co-author of this book. And last week I was listening, he was giving a speech, and he was saying it's actually this idea that the mind becomes still, absolutely still, is incorrect. When we meditate, in fact, the mind speeds up to such a great speed that it actually looks as if it's still. It gives this illusion of stillness, but actually that's only because it's moving so quickly. Wow. Like when you have these children's tops, these tops, you spin the top and it's spinning so fast, but actually it looks like it's absolutely still. So actually I don't think we have to worry that the mind is going to stop racing. It's going to go the other direction.
Well, it sounds like you relax. Let's get Levi.
Yeah.
Levi, let's hear, because you've had a great experience too when we did this. Really appreciate your experience too. Thanks so much for being here. What happened when you did that meditation?
I passed out. I went to sleep. You had to revive me? No. I experienced the actual the body sensation when he was basically telling us to meditate and to because we let our feet out of our shoes, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
So my feet were on the floor, and I started twinkling my toes or whatever, and I could actually feel like the energy kind of rising from my lower self, my lower body, to more so like my chest area. Mm-hmm. And when we actually started the meditation process, and we were done, and I opened my eyes, I felt lighter. You know what I mean? I felt lighter. I felt more just in a positive positive place. So it definitely played a great impact on just my spectrum as being an artist, because I'm an artist as well. You know, you have to have that clear mindset. You know, so it clears.
So would you say if you did this every day, or how could someone do this every day?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you just meditate, you know. I think it's really helpful to meditate along with a trainer, and that's helped me anyway. Okay. And so that's what we recommend. You can find them at heartfulness.org, or there's also a way you can we have an app called Let's Meditate. Mm-hmm. So you just download this app, it's a free app, and you can connect remotely with somebody a trainer, okay, you know, and just sit in your own home or wherever you are and, you know, meditate. And I also want to say this meditation that we just did, this was about a 4-minute meditation.
We're going to do some at the end of the show so everyone can tap in. How can people find you and your work and your talent?
Yes, my real name is Levi, but my artist name is Vokael, Vokael. My entertainment label is Solando, out of Orlando, Florida. I'm here visiting New York, and I'm having a great time. Meditation.
And are you a rapper, a singer,
I am a singer. I am a singer and a producer and a songwriter. The soul of Orlando, baby.
The soul of. Thanks so much for being on New Realities.
Thanks.
Thank you.
This is what's beautiful about doing a show here at YouTube. Come back anytime. And yeah, thanks so much. Thanks, Anderson, too. But isn't that great? I mean, we just did a little meditation here in the studio, and these guys are doing their own video, and they just jumped in. And,
See, actually, that's the thing about transmission.
What?
It's something that, you know, as a musician, I'm used to being patient. I'm used to this idea that things can take a very, very long time before you feel the effects, right? Because to be a musician, it's going to be out of tune for the first 6 months, right? So you have this idea that you keep working, you keep investing in this discipline, and eventually it gives you some return, right? But I found something with an immediate effect when it was my experience.
Yeah, well,
you know?
like these guys had an immediate effect. Actually, I had a bit of a drop. I dropped in, actually. I mean, I do a lot of meditation, but when we started doing this, I dropped into something. I said, wow, I must be in a zone. Anyone who's tried this, they drop in like that and have an immediate effect is pretty interesting, because most people are trying to stop their mind. And of course, you can't stop your mind when you're meditating. You have to be the observer of the mind. I want to just get back to the story you were saying about your teacher, Daji, when he met the sannyasins, and the sannyasins said, don't do this.
To go home.
Yeah, and what happened then?
He went home.
And then what
And he went back to school.
Yeah.
Went back to his college. And soon after, he sort of came across one of these Heartfulness trainers I mentioned, and then he had what he describes as the best experience of his life.
Oh, so he didn't create this meditation?
No, he's the fourth in a lineage.
That goes back to Vivekananda?
It doesn't go back to Vivekananda, but it goes back to the same time period as Vivekananda.
Who was the originator?
So the first person his name was Ramchandra.
Ramchandra.
Right? And people called him Lalaji. He was from the North Indian state of UP, a place called Fatehgarh. And
Andhra Pradesh.
Yes. And then he also had a disciple whose name, just by coincidence, also happened to be Ramchandra. So they called him Babuji. Babuji. Yeah. And then the third one was also there from the south, his name is Charaji. And then, you know, so this lineage has been passed along.
And he's the fourth.
He's the fourth.
So he got it from Chandraji.
Yeah, Charaji.
Who was the sannyasin.
No sannyasins here.
He was not.
None of these are sannyasins. All the people here, I mean, he's a pharmacist. Daji's a pharmacist. Here in New York City, actually. He lived for 30 years here in New York City.
Before he got into the meditation?
No, while he was meditating. This is what we promote. We say the integration, an integrated life, right? The whole point of this is that you live your family life, you live your professional life, fine. You don't have to leave that or anything like that. But create some balance from within yourself through meditation, right? And so that's what I'm saying he's done. As somebody who is a pharmacist and pharmacy owner here in New York City for 3 decades, right? And all the time also, you know, nurturing his spiritual life, right? Through meditation on a daily basis, and, you know, and becomes something, you know, and becomes the, you know, fourth, you know, guru in this tradition. So
now he's passed it on because now it's worldwide. I mean,
it is.
What was it about him that And you, in a way, this is your mission too. You stop playing music, and now you're
Well,
just
I'm
spreading the
an
meditation.
unusual case. That's not.
But so you're passionate about this
yeah.
because it did something for you.
Yes, and I think there are many people who are passionate about it who share this, you know, in their own cities and towns.
But you're passionate about it because it did something for you, right?
Yes, absolutely.
What was it that it did for you? I mean, I know you want testimonials and everyone will try it, but what did it do for you?
It's continuing to do it.
And what?
You know, I think it's very difficult to define or convey the kind of freedom that this grants you.
I don't. I mean, tell me what that means.
It means that life is still normal,
right?
There can be anxieties. There still can be, you know, pain. There still can be joys, but we don't get absolutely wrapped up in them and locked into them to the extent that this is, you know, normally this happens.
Because your mind is aware of a deeper reality, would you say?
You're floating free somewhere else. All these, you know, like you have these video games, right?
Yeah.
And you have to beat each level, and then you get access to the next level,
yeah.
right? So then the next level gets unlocked, and then you have to fight your way through that. Then the next level gets unlocked, right? So with consciousness, in, you know, the yogic idea of this, you know, is that consciousness is something which is perhaps even infinite. But the available consciousness that we have, the available awareness we have is something like this. It's a little sliver. And through meditation, these new levels of consciousness are now unlocked and become available to us.
But you're saying there's something different about this meditation.
I'm just speaking from my experience.
Right.
Now, I know that there's certain parts of this which are you don't find in other systems,
yeah,
right?
Talk about
so,
that.
So I mentioned what we call yogic transmission, right?
Yeah.
That's a feature that's unique. And
that comes from the teacher, and you said to meditate to that guy with because the transmission's coming through.
You receive it when you meditate along with a trainer. Eventually, you can even receive it without a trainer. In fact, but in any case, so this is a unique feature of this system.
That is a transmission.
Yeah.
That's one unique.
That's
feature.
one, and there's another practice too, which is very unique, which we call cleaning, which I'll explain.
Yes.
But in terms of the experience of it, I'm not comparing the experience. The experience, I'm just speaking from my own experience, right?
Right.
But
that's all you can do is speak from your experience.
In terms of comparison, when I'm talking about comparison, I'm talking about features, right? Which are cleaning and transmission. These are unique.
What is cleaning?
Cleaning is a way that we can very easily remove emotional burdens that we carry.
It sounds like, Vipassana has that technique too. Have you done Vipassana?
I'm aware of it.
Which is a cleaning where you go through your body and the samsaras come up and they are cleansed because they've been brought to the surface. But is that what happens?
So what we do with these samskaras, we have to understand samskaras as sort of the emotional memory, right? It doesn't even need you don't actually have to have a memory of it, but somehow the emotion itself is in the subconscious, right?
It's yeah.
And this is something, I mean, imagine how many times we have a reaction, emotional reaction. Not even a big one, but just the tiniest one, right? And so
it's recorded on the soul.
It's there in the consciousness, in the subconscious. And this cleaning method removes them in bulk.
What is that method? So you're sitting there with a trainer on your own.
You do this on your own. It also happens with a trainer.
So tell us, because
well, I can walk you through it.
Yeah, let's do it
if you want.
And then we'll do a little meditation as well. Okay?
Yeah.
You'll give us the actual transmission.
Yes.
All right. So let's do the cleanse.
So this is something I'll just give a taste of. Normally, we probably do this at the end of each day.
Okay.
Right. At the end of each day, for maybe until it's finished. But let's say 20 minutes or something, 30 minutes,
all right.
15
we'll
minutes.
Do a few.
So I'll just show you how to do it, actually.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So just close your eyes.
Okay.
And have the understanding, the idea, that all complexities and impurities are leaving your whole system through the back, right, in the form of smoke or vapor. So this smoke or vapor is flowing out behind you in this area between the top of your head and the base of your spine, your whole back. And now gradually accelerate this process. The smoke is flowing out more quickly. There's no need to think about those specific things which we wish to clean away, or emotions or memories which we wish to clean away. It's the idea that everything is going, good and bad. And we can even continue to accelerate the process with the smoke exiting us through the back. And we continue this for a few minutes, 15 minutes, so until we feel lightness emerge from within our hearts. And now, which is, of course, this lightness being the proof of this cleaning method. And now we imagine some kind of divine energy, or energy from the source, entering the body from the front this time. And this energy from the source, as it enters us, it spreads throughout our whole system, to every cell, to every nook and cranny, illuminating every cell. And the whole body, the whole system, in fact, should now feel it's become sacred. And we can just enjoy that feeling for a moment, experience it for a moment, and that's all. So this is
something good there.
It's a simple thing. You do it at the end of the day. And I think this lightness that emerges inside, this joyfulness that comes inside, you do it not because you need to believe in this process or in any philosophy.
Well, it's nothing to believe. It's an experience.
Exactly. You just feel it. And you say, okay, I like this.
But let's just finish that story with your teacher. He met the sannyasin.
Yeah, he met the
He
sannyasin.
went back home.
Yes, and found this method.
And found this method.
The heartfulness. He just found it. Someone was at, some student was at in his hostel.
Oh.
And he saw him, he was trying to meditate, and he saw him meditating, saying, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm meditating." He says, I'll bring you to someone who can show you how to meditate." So he brought him to an elderly lady, and she said, "Okay, start." She told him how to do it. "Now let's meditate," and they meditated.
And he just said, "Oh my God, this is the..."
Yes.
And that happened to you too?
Yes.
And the meditation, again, that's different is, first there's a transmission that goes along with it.
Mm.
So you're getting kind of a bigger energetic field, right?
Something very profound is happening, and I think to be able to really grasp it, we're going to have to experience it. I invite people to experiment with it.
Well, what's the website there?
So we can go to heartfulness.org, right? Heartfulness.org, and there's a function there called heart spots, HEART spots, where you can find somebody who's nearby, right? Or if you don't want to meet somebody, you can just download this app, Let's Meditate, and just connect remotely with somebody.
And you're not charging people to learn this? Never. There's no charge.
You can't, because spirituality can't be sold, it's been said.
But it has been sold.
No, but that's not spirituality if it's being sold. I really make bold to say that. That's a marketplace.
No, I get that.
And, there's a line in this book where, there's a book of conversations between myself and Daji. And there's a line in the book where Daji says, God is not for sale, right? And then he adds this other idea that suppose, you could buy God.
Right.
And you could afford the price. Then why would you even need God?
Right.
So this whole idea of involving and making spirituality into a marketplace.
Well, because it's in us. Why can we actually sell or buy something that we already have? That's what I would say about that.
Absolutely.
But it is the mission of this to bring this to the world, right? Is this why you're so compelled and passionate about this? You found something that could really make peace in the world? Is that what?
Yes, of course.
You discovered?
Of course. And not, the mission isn't that everybody should meditate either.
What is the mission?
At least that they should know that it's there, so that if they so choose, they can partake of it and be benefited by it. But this is nothing where nobody's going to insist that you must meditate or anything like that.
No, of course not. But you feel if more people did this, there would be more peace on the planet, right? I mean, obviously.
Because external peace, I think, begins with internal peace. It has to. Because you can't apply it artificially. Peace is not some sort of condiment, right? If you have violence and hatred and anger inside your heart, no amount of peacemaking is going to make any difference, because the seeds of that opposite will be there.
But how are you a different person now than you were before you started this whole process?
I don't know. We can ask my wife,
All right.
my mother.
But do you notice a difference in yourself?
I noticed a difference in my experience. I noticed there's certainly a difference
What is
in
that
consciousness. It's just, it's a very subtle thing.
It's subtle. Yeah, you can't.
You know,
really
and
put it
suppose
in
I
words.
told you something. I was in London, right?
Yeah.
And somebody came along and said, "Are you enlightened?"
Uh-huh.
They asked me this question. And I was just all of a sudden reminded of this statement. Somebody went to one of the gurus in this lineage and said, "Can you show me God?" And the response that he gave him was, I think, is great. Because he said, "Suppose I showed you God. How would you know that it was God?" Right? So, you know, in the same way, I think if I were to tell that person, you know, whatever I say about my own state,
Right.
okay, I can say I've transformed, I've become wonderful, but how are you going to verify it?
You know what?
Right? So verifying, this is something, I'm sorry, I just want to
go
add
ahead. No, please.
that verification or proof of a system like this is something that can only be done for oneself, right? By seeing the effect that it creates upon oneself. You can't look at anybody else and say, how have they changed? No, just try it for a week, try it for a month, see how you start to change. If you find there's change, you can say this is good. If you find there isn't change or there's negative change, then you can conclude that, you know?
And in a way, it doesn't have anything to do with God or whatever we call God. Although I love this Rumi quote that says, "When I went looking for God, I found myself. And when I went looking for myself, I found God." That's Rumi.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And
It's beautiful.
And that brings us all back to like who we really are, which can't be defined. And I think this is what
True.
the Heartfulness drops us into, the undefinable place inside of us.
I agree.
So let's do a little 5 minutes and
Yes.
just get
Okay.
the audience to really tuned in, and you're not gonna send them a transmission, or you
No,
are.
they'll feel it.
All right, we'll do just a show. Most of the time it's what, 20, 30 minutes?
I think so. You know, even after this broadcast is over, they can continue meditating
They can.
and still receive it.
All right. Well, there you get.
You know.
It's more for free there. No, go ahead.
Yes.
What you
So
would do.
here I'll explain it. Here we'll meditate on the presence. We meditate on the presence of light in the heart, and we give this light almost a special quality. We can even call it divine light, or we can say it's light from our source within ourselves. And so we give it some special quality like that. Now, how do we meditate on this light? I was saying earlier, it's not a visualization, right?
It's not a visual.
You don't sit in.
It's a sense.
Yes, this is something that you don't see, but something that you feel.
Okay.
So, and the heart is the organ of feeling. So that's why we meditate on this light in the heart, with the heart. So here all we do is so simple. We just close our eyes and we, gently bring our awareness to the heart. And now we just see what kind of subtle state starts to develop during this meditation, and especially by the conclusion of this session. So we just observe that and enjoy that. Now, so when I actually say, let's start meditation, that's what we do.
We haven't started yet.
No, we haven't started.
I was starting already.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, no, I'll wait.
We
for
should
you.
live 24 hours in meditation.
Okay, that's what I was going to, of course.
Yeah.
What,
this isn't just for a few minutes.
Yes.
This is just
How
to
do we
trigger
get
meditation.
24 hours of meditation.
Yeah, you have to trigger it through the act of meditation.
Okay, but
Right,
so you
anyway.
tell me when we'll start.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
ready to start.
Okay, so first what I'll do is I think I'll just walk you through a relaxation technique. Way easier to meditate when the body is relaxed. So I'll just walk you through, I'll say relax this, relax feet, relax arms, and then I'll say start meditation. And then we'll do what I just explained, right? Just put our attention there in the heart and see what happens.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so let's close our eyes and sit comfortably in any position, any asana as you like. Now, gently bring your attention to your toes. And move your toes and relax them. Now feel a healing current, energy entering through the soles of your feet, bottom of your feet, and relaxing your feet. You can feel this energy moving up your legs, relaxing them as it goes. Relaxing your ankles and lower legs, your knees. Relax your upper legs. Let your hips relax, your waist. And relax your stomach and all the muscles of your chest. Let your whole back relax, all the way from the base of your spine to your shoulders. And relax your shoulders. Let them feel like they're melting. Let them feel as if they're liquid. Relax your arms, your triceps and bicep muscles, and your elbows. Relax all the muscles of your forearms, and your wrists and hands. Feel the energy flowing out from your fingertips. Now, gently bring your attention to your neck and relax your neck. Your throat, your jaws. Relax your mouth and your tongue, teeth, all the muscles of your face. Let your eyes be very softly closed, gently. Let there be so much softness around your eyes. Relax your ears and earlobes, all the way up to the top of your head. If there's any place in your body that needs to relax even more, relax that place. And allow your whole body to become completely relaxed. And gently bring your attention to your heart, your chest area, where light from the source is present within, drawing you, attracting you within, towards the core of your heart, your center. Let's start meditation, please. Okay, that's all.
That's it.
I think if anybody wants to continue, they can continue at home.
But it feels like when you said start meditation, it feels like something dropped in.
Nice.
Thank you for that.
Most welcome.
So your mission is to spread this around the world, just to bring this sense of peace. That's it. There's nothing, not doing it for yourself.
Peace and beyond peace. Peace and also beyond peace.
And what does that look like?
There's a whole, it's very difficult to define the final goal of where this brings us, because we will not be able to grasp it until we've attained it, you know. And if you can grasp it, that means you have attained it. So for us, for now, it is something which is unknown, but we get the fragrance of it as we meditate, and that attracts us further towards this final state. And I think that the way that we can define this final state is that it is sort of a situation in which we no longer aspire for anything, to become anything. We no longer have the wish to achieve or experience anything, because there is total fulfillment in that state. Total
and it's
contentment.
okay if people do want to do something in that state. You know, I think peace is a level playing field, and from that place, we can choose.
Peace is a starting point.
Yeah, it's a start.
And there's much more beyond peace.
Thank you, Josh, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me here.
And sharing this, which is a gift for anyone who wants it. So people who want to find you or the meditation can go to the Heartfulness Way website.
The heartfulness.org. And if they want to find out more before trying it, you can also, that's what the book is for.
Yes.
The book is there to inspire you with sort of the possibilities and go about what can happen to you if you meditate, and also to sort of explain the whole thing in a lot of depth and detail.
What is it about Daji that you really enjoy?
The more that I'm able to develop some sort of discriminative ability and some kind of sensitivity, there's more to appreciate. So
his sense of beingness. Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you. Talking to Josh Pollock, the author, along with his teacher. His whole name is
Kamlesh D. Patel.
But they call him Daji.
They call him Daji.
Daji.
Yes.
And I'm Alan Steinfeld for New Realities from YouTube Studios. Really fun for me to be here live. I think my next live stream will be Sunday at the New Life Expo at the UFO panel. So I go from the outer to the inner, you know. So keep watching New Realities on YouTube. Thanks for watching today. And if you have any questions, email me at newrealities@earthlink.net. Thanks.